Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. First of all, I want to introduce you to my friend Kat.
Hello.
Who is joining us on the trip, and we may have a surprise potential guest, but that is a secret for another time. So, Kat, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Catherine. I live here in Lexington with Erica. I'm a full-time...
Well, not exactly with me.
Well,
we don't actually live together.
Near, if only. Imagine our bike collection.
Oh my gosh, we'd have to have a huge garage and a barn and a gear shed and yes, all the things. Anyway, go on.
Avid cyclist, mostly stick to road and gravel. Erica has certainly got me into bike packing. It is the preferred method for my mountain biking. I'm not really a downhill extreme mountain biker, so this really touches all my favorite parts: adventuring, exploring, overnight camping, really feeling a sense of accomplishment, you know, like with an extended route. So we did a route together last year, the one in Maryland, so I'm super excited. As you may have seen. Previously featured. Looks familiar. So I'm really excited to have the hardtail this time. I had a gravel bike last time. Maybe not the best choice.
Also, she's modest, but she's a fantastic cook, first of all. So I'll put her Instagram handle on here so you can follow her. So she's our foodie, our resident foodie, which is cool because we're going to be well cared for on the trail, which is awesome.
Self-appointed food and beverage manager. Right. Thank you very much.
Right. I've already self-appointed myself the mechanic, which is hilarious since I'm not much of a mechanic, but I have the tools. And also she's a badass jet airline pilot. No joke. So yeah, I've got a lot of badass friends. It is the longest consecutive trip that we've done. So we've done overnighters. Some of what I've done, at least in the past, has put overnighters back to back, but there's always like a nice resupply or a drive or a hotel stay or something in between. So this will be the most that we have to pack, and kind of the longest that we've had to go all in one go without much support. It's also probably the most remote because the routes that we've done in the past have been kind of town to town. The ones that I did in England last year and Wales were very much like coastal, kind of village to village things. So even if we did run out of stuff, we could always kind of jet into town and grab what we needed. So this is all mostly state forest. And so it's going to be much more dispersed camping and meal preparation and things like that. The route, according to bikepacking.com, is 172.3 miles. As mapped out, and so it's said to take 4 to 6 days, so that's quite a range.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to figure out, you know, obviously we want to be flexible, but we do want to kind of have a plan as to where we aim to stay each night, how far we plan to ride each day, just so we don't get stuck in between campsites with 20 miles to go when the sun goes down.
I remember too when we did our Maryland route, you know, it was pretty distinct a 2-day route, and we found that we kind of wanted to spend a lot of time looking at things and taking pictures and really exploring, and you know, it was a lot of miles to cover in a day. If you do it in 4 days, how much extra time are you going to have as far as setting up, breaking down camp, exploring, you know, if there's something to pop off and see, how far behind you're going to get on mileage.
It's a little bit of a balancing act, I feel like, because if we go with the shorter period of time, then you're more stressed to get, you know, longer miles in every day and not stop and enjoy it as much. But then also, if you stretch it out to 6 days, now we're carrying more food. Now we have, you know, more considerations as far as how frequently we can stop and what's along the way that we can stop at and all of that. So
we were talking about fuel consumption and bringing enough fuel, and then, you know, the food and everything else. So yeah, that is a lot to consider, and very well put. It's a balancing act, really.
Right. And hopefully once we go through this route today, we'll have a little bit better feel for, like, there are a few like gas stations and things where we could resupply some of the smaller things that we, you know, maybe just can't carry enough granola bars for the whole 6 days or whatever. So
dehydrated food only gets you so far.
Yes.
Do you remember in Maryland when we had those pickle packets?
Yes. Pickles, right? Like the best
Those are
thing
so good.
ever. It's like electrolytes, it replenishes your sodium. They taste so good and juicy when you're tired.
Juicy means heavy though.
True,
so that
true.
is what is so nice about popping off at a gas station.
Yes.
For a fresh, chilled pickle pack.
I know, and all gas stations now seem to have the pickles, so it's like this.
This is what happens when you invite the food and beverage manager.
Yeah, and she's like, don't forget we have a pickle stop coming up. Also, I don't know, I haven't looked into these campsites and whether they require, some of them may require reservations and whatnot, especially if it looks like we're going to get into some of them kind of late. So that's something to kind of keep in mind as well. So the good news is there appears to be lots of camping along this route, so we should have options no matter what. In Maryland, we did like 40 to 45 miles a day. The first day was like road.
There was
and
a big discrepancy.
Gravel
a huge
and
difference between day 1 and day 2. It was gravel road versus single track. And that was, I mean, you really think about the time difference. I mean, the first day we stopped and got lunch at the convenience store. We, sat in the shade on our picnic table. We went to the winery. We did a wine tasting. Day 2 was like blood and mud. It was with a pickle. There was a pickle stop in there. But I mean, that's
true. Like the second day we had lunch at probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon, because that's the first time we ran across a gas station. It was all single track, which of course I loved, but it was way hard work. And it was tough. I was toast. But the first day, we're like ending the day at 5 p.m. at a winery, having like cheese and wine. The second day we like roll in at sundown, like, oh God. So keep it to like 30-ish to 35 maybe miles a day, and just know what we've got ahead of us. Bikepacking.com does say that it is non-technical riding, no routes. They do say there are some routes, no rocks to speak of, not a lot of elevation because it's Michigan, so we're not talking about like alpine bikepacking here, but it does look like there's a range of 1,000 feet or so. So there's a little bit of climbing up and down and whatnot, but Kat's super fit, even though she hasn't been riding a lot of single track. I've been riding a lot of single track, but I'm less fit than usual probably. So I've got about a week to get in shape. So anyway, it'll be fine.
Totally fine.
We'll be fine.
It's the worst that can happen. Knowing everybody's endurance level, that's so important, because you're as fast as your slowest member. So if you go into it like, we're gonna do this in 4 days, and you have a member of your team that is really struggling, unable to do it, incredibly sore, I mean, that is not fun. No. It is not like, you get up the next day and take a hot shower and chill on the couch. I mean, you still have
4 more days to go.
Pedal 40 more miles. So, yes, very good point. Just knowing everybody's endurance level on your team, I think, is really important.
We have to be a little bit flexible, but I think just driving to the start and heading out with no plan is not a good place to start. So I'll be navigating on a Garmin bike computer, and I'll probably be recording on my watch as well, so that we have a double. And I like to send the live track from the Garmin watch to my husband, and we can send it to your husband or anybody else who might be interested. My parents actually live like probably 3 hours from the start of the route, so in case of an emergency they could always come up as well. Somebody could come up and get us. So that helps to keep people aware of where you're located and kind of what kind of progress you're making.
Thank God for you, because I have zero technology.
It's probably becoming pretty apparent who's doing what.
Everybody has roles, and I'm really set in my food and beverage manager ways.
Like, the food's covered, the technology's covered,
first aid's covered, maybe.
Everything, right.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. Okay, so... All right, so let's dive in, shall we?
Like riding road and gravel, like 42 miles, you're like,
right?
It's a pre-breakfast ride. That's
right.
Knock that out in 2 hours. And then,
no.
Yeah.
So fun fact, Catherine and I have the same gravel bike. We also now have the same hardtail. I don't know. We just are both really brilliant
We like the
people
same
who like
thing.
the
I know.
same excellent bikes.
Yeah.
But since I'm more of a mountain biker and she's more of a road rider, she spends a lot of time on her gravel bike, and I spent a lot of time on my full suspension. And then we both kind of bought the hardtails at the same time, and we went out for a couple of rides recently, and I just ask her, you know, along the way, like, how far do you think we've gone? And she'd be like, I don't know, I mean, it must be like 10 miles. And I'd be like, yeah, 3.5.
That's a lot of effort.
It feels
for
a little
3
different
miles. I'm used to having like double digits next to my pile of sweat, but
I know, like my Strava looks pathetic next to somebody like yours, because it's like, oh, knock out 500 miles a month, that's no big deal.
No big
and
deal.
I'm just like, yeah, it's a major grind to get 100. Well, that might be a push, but anyway. So yeah, it's these miles, when you look at them, I know it's, but these will be long days.
and
I
with
think, no
full
matter what
pack
we
bikes too. I mean, we're also
do. Loaded.
Yeah, we're
Loaded.
considering riding usually empty.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's what we
Yes.
typically do in a day, right? So then you have to consider
Yep.
that. So
Yeah, and we will we need to remember to weigh our bikes before this trip. We'll have we'll do a bike check before we leave.
yeah.
On the first day, and we need to remember to try to get a weight. Do you have one of those hanging?
I don't.
Yeah.
No, you think I would, but
Right, with luggage, right?
no. Rules don't apply.
Pilot.
Those sorts of rules don't apply.
I can do whatever I want. I don't
Muggles. It's a great option though, you know, just to have in case, you know, like a storm rolls through or you have a mechanical that you've
Absolutely.
gotta, like, there's no way and you gotta pop back into town or
Or you're just
something.
completely like,
Totally
this plan
washed.
is not working out, and I'm baked, and I need to go take a nap. Baked as in tired, not as in high.
Excellent.
Isn't that a word for high?
Excellent
Don't people say
clarification.
they're baked when they're high? I don't know. I wouldn't know. Okay, so if
You know,
we
I
needed
gotta
to
say,
refuel,
I'm really liking all these waters. The waters.
there's
that are
so much
depicted.
water.
I know. Pure Michigan.
There's a convenience store, so another place where we can restock
Pickles?
a little bit.
Pickles!
I'm gonna write this out into a much more cohesive list, and there will be pickle
There
stops.
will be pickles.
Do you want to call the convenience store ahead
I
of time
would.
and make
I
sure
would.
that they have
I would.
pickles?
This is, yes, promising.
Okay, and then look at this. There's a little like beer insignia after that. Buck
Carb
snort.
load.
Yes. Fish and chips and a pint. This is Vicky. Come sit with us, Vicky. And we're trying to figure out which of these sites we're gonna camp at and where we can get the foods. And then all these markets and stuff where we can get pickles and, you know, maybe a delicious Diet Coke or some other treat. Just kidding, I'm off of that.
Not so much.
Not really.
Cool.
Wanna come? We've been working on Vicky and she's just not budging.
I'll go for
One day.
Go for a 2-hour trip.
All right, we'll start with that.
the secondary
There's
fun.
also the
Yeah.
suck. You gotta embrace the suck a little bit
Yeah.
too. There's definitely the type 2 fun where you're like, that was badass after you spent all day crying.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Licking your wounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wringing out your socks. Ask us how we know.
Really selling it, girls.
I know. We'll keep working on it. So, okay, well good. I feel a lot better about our unplanned.
Yeah. Thank you so much for putting this all together.
Absolutely, it's gonna be fun. I've already put off a couple of bikepacking trips this year, so it's time. The time has come. We need to get this done.
It's time. Let's do this.
So, yay! All right. So, catch you next time. Thanks for joining.
See you guys.